after the Cash for Clunkers program. Folks get cash for turning in old appliances for more energy-efficient ones. Steve, Brian?
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, is calling on Democrats to be courageous and support health care despite public opposition. But will conservative Democrats vote yes to reform if it means political suicide? What if you vote yes, but then you get voted out next November?
I don't know, Steve, but that may be a good question for Congressman Anthony Weiner of New York, who's right here for us, a fellow Democrat to Nancy Pelosi. Congressman, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
What were your thoughts when the Speaker said that? Is she on the money, or is she saying, what are you talking about my career for?
Well, she's right in that tough votes mean tough votes. I mean, look, you don't go to Washington just to vote on National Pickle Month. You go there to try to solve problems. This is a huge problem. If we had one element of consensus at the healthcare summit, everyone said we have to solve this problem. The question is how we do it, and Democrats have a plan. We have to do it alone because Republicans, for various reasons, have said they're not going to help. So she's right. This is going to be a tough vote for a lot of us.
So let's put it, and I know you hate to deal with hypotheticals because we don't know what's going to be in what the president's going to suggest tomorrow. But let's say Nancy comes to you and says, Congressman Weiner, I really need your vote. Yes, you're going to vote yes anyway on it. But say your district was squarely against it. And there are a lot of members who have that situation where they'd like to vote for it, but their district will vote them out of office. So do you do what you consider in your head the right thing and vote for the greater good and health care, knowing you're going to be out of work in a couple of months?
Well, listen, that's the idea. Look, we're sent to Washington to represent our districts. We're also sent to Washington to lead. You know, there are always going to be times there to be tough votes.
But what if your district doesn't want it?
Well, yeah, there are always going to be times that you're asked, well, should we just take a poll? That's not what congressmen should do. Congressmen and women should say, not only do we want to figure out what is right, we want to figure out what is right for our district and try to merge the two things. Look, this is what happened throughout the month of August. Look, we should be honest about something here. And programs like this, there's been an enormous amount of disinformation about what's in the bill.
No, that's honest according to you. I mean, that's what you think is honest.
Look, I think that there has been an orchestrated in a lot of quarters to lie about the bill.
We went through.
Well, don't take it all personal. I said programs like yours.
Don't be so
Let me ask you something.
Like yours.
Let me ask
I can get this guy in a headlock in just a second.
Let me ask you something. Did anyone talk about death panels on this show throughout the last 6 months?
Oh, of course.
Okay, that was a lie.
Questions?
That was a lie.
So let's move forward.
Only the point that I'm making here, gentlemen, is that you can't simply put your finger up in the air and say, what do people want? For one thing, when people ask about the bill, there hasn't even been a bill until now.
Congressman, under your theory, that means if I go on the train and start a conversation with someone who tells me what's in the bill, then I'm being pushed to conclude something different.
It's the obligation of members of Congress to go out and do the very best they can to educate. And we haven't done a great job about that. I'll stipulate to the idea we haven't done a great job.
Let's look ahead. Just tell me, could you give us insight to what the president will present within 24 hours?
I think he's going to have a bill that is not as good as the House bill. I think it's lost the public option now, and I'm fighting to get it back in. I think there are things they're going to do that are mistakes, like have statewide exchange rather than a national exchange, so things like buying over state lines will be more difficult.
Right.
All of that being said, I think it is going to cover many people, help reduce taxes in states and localities, because we won't have to cover so many uninsured people.
What's going to be different about it? So you think it's going to be less
I think it's
than
going
$1 trillion?
to be, here's the way to look at it. The Senate bill with modifications to make it palatable and make it better. The Senate bill was not good enough to pass. They need to figure out a way to make it better, and it's going to be very difficult. All of these votes are very difficult because they involve doing difficult things.
Well, we do know that we've heard that apparently it's still going to cost $1 trillion, and we don't know exactly where all that money is going to come from because, as you know, we're in trouble. But how can you, as a guy who's wanted the public option all along, vote for it in an affirmative way if it doesn't have what you want?
Well, it doesn't have what you want either, because you want choice, you want competition, you want lower cost.
I want to be able to pay for it.
Yeah, the public. Well, first of all, let's make it very clear. The bill in the House, in the Senate, and the President's plan is going to save us money, mean cost less than our present plan. And I know that because we know that right now health care costs are going up so much, they're consuming 17% of our economy. They're on the way to 50% of our economy. So let's just make sure, yes, there are some things we're going to have to do now to save a little more money later. But you are right. I have already compromised an enormous amount.
I came so how can you, in your conscience, say, okay, I'm going to vote for this,
because I
even though it doesn't have what I
First of all, I haven't said I'm going to vote for it.
Okay.
Okay, but I don't.
You can make some news right now.
I don't. Did you just touch my knee? I think I enjoyed that. See,
that's why Gretchen left.
This is the case where you don't want to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And I don't think any of us who legislate ever get everything that we want. I want a public option, and I think all Americans should want.
You know what bugs me? You have a better tie than both me and Steve combined. Well, that is a better tie.
That's not setting a high bar.
Oh, that hurts my feelings.
Just before you go, when you walk
Before you go, this is our third before you go.
Hold on a second. You mentioned the Harold Ford comment that he had been bullied by the Democrats in New York State not to run.
Well, I don't know. You know,
you are a Democrat in New York State.
I mean, Oscar Wilde once said it's better to be talked about than not talked about. I think Harold Ford learned in this case being talked about wasn't so great for him. Look, he wasn't going to win. I'm glad he decided not to run. Whoever these bullies are, you know, this idea of being independent from Chuck Schumer, we want Democratic votes here. We're a Democratic state. We want health care reform. We want regulatory reform. We want these things. We don't want another Joe Lieberman. We've already got.
You mean a person who makes up his mind from issue to issue?
Well, a person who has more personalities than Sybil. That's what I mean.
Hey, hey, hey.
Despite that's anti-Lieberman.
By the way, was hey, hey, hey your defense of Joe Lieberman?
No, that's the president trying to get.
We get in the morning.
That's the president trying to quiet down Lamar Alexander.
That was a great interview. Thank you very much.
Enjoyed being here. Thanks, guys.
Right, even though you touched his knee. Straight ahead, a development.